after 9 o'clock, which is the informational hearings regarding the April town meeting warrant articles. This is kind of an annual event that we go through just prior to town meeting. The board is back over what is actually going to be on the warrant, holds informational hearings. Some of them, the articles we've already made recommendations on. Others we have not, and we may still withhold recommendations until town meeting. And some of them, in the meantime, and some of them are rather routine articles. So why don't we just run through again? Articles 1, select town officers. Article 2, hear and act on reports of town officers and committees. Those are rather routine articles, whereby on every annual warrant, the first 2 articles of the April town meeting warrant don't require any action of the board necessarily, or recommendations. I don't know if anybody has any questions or comments. If not, we'll move to the Article 3, which is to authorize the Director of Public Works to accept easements. Again, most of these in relation to drainage, sidewalk, and other issues that may come up with regard to the town requiring specific easements in order to correct certain situations around the community. Again, rather routine, taking place every year. Any questions or comments in relation to Article 3? Hearing none. Article 4, authorize Mrs. Doherty to spend all sorts of money for us. Enter into compensating balance agreements. Any questions or comments in relation to that? What did it say? I'm sorry.
What did you say?
I was writing.
I said, Mrs. Doherty's doing a fabulous job. I said she says, she's
Steve, I didn't, I'm sorry, I was writing, I didn't hear. Was my name mentioned?
No.
I thought
Doherty, not Girardi.
I thought I heard you say he was saving us all kinds of money.
She's saving us all kinds of money. She's saving us all kinds of money.
I'm sorry.
Article 4, accept Chapter 170 of the Acts of 1999. Is that, Tom?
That's a new chapter, and I can speak on behalf of Mrs. Stats, Ms. Doherty, regarding such. Chapter 170 of the Acts of 1999 allows the town to compensate. In this case, it would be 10% of the regular compensation, but no more than $1,000 annually to the municipal treasurer/collector and the municipal clerk once they retain their certification in their respective state organizations. Massachusetts Town Clerk Association and the Treasurers Collectors Association.
Okay. Any comments or questions? No? Okay.
Well, I guess, is that an ongoing compensation? Is it every year? Is it every year, or is it a one-time?
It would be an annual compensation as long as they're certified.
As long as they hold the certification?
Right.
Okay.
And we have not taken a position on that.
No, we have not.
Okay. What is your recommendation on it?
My recommendation would be to accept it. They are doing a fine job, both of them in their positions at this point. 10% of their annual, actually it's $1,000 would be 10% of their annual compensation. It's within their budgets and we can manage it.
Okay. Any additional comments or questions?
Just a question. This is Article 4, correct?
Article 5.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm reading. Okay.
Article 5.
I'm wondering what I was reading.
I also feel that it's, I'm sorry.
That was the other, go ahead.
For the many hours and time that they all put in, Barbara, particularly on elections and town meetings, and Josephine, I see the number of hours she puts in after closing and coming in here early. I mean, we can't compensate them.
Well, all I know is when we have to sign things, Josephine, she said, well, you can just stop by at 7:30, or you can stop by, say, well, who's going to be there, Josephine? I'll be there. Any other questions or comments?
I think just one comment. I think if the money is available and the funding there's a funding source, but I have absolutely no problem with recommending it. But I also think we should hold our recommendations until town meeting, only because of the funding situations that we face right now with the budget. Every dollar is critical right now. I'm aware that it is in the budget, and I'll have no problem recommending and supporting it at town meeting, but financially right now, I think we all know we're in a bind, so.
Just a curiosity question. I'm in favor of it, but could this have just been done as a stipend in the budget?
Well, there's two ways. I'll go through.
Go ahead.
There's two ways to do it. Yes, it could be a stipend if you just wanted to grant them $1,000.
Which is
but
doing,
This is tying it to the
this is tying it
certification.
to the act in the certification.
Okay, yeah. And I'm not opposed to it, but I mean, I just was looking at it, that we could have done it, and we could have had that language in the contract too. Could have. Okay, yeah, fine.
The department head, so it's...
Yeah. Well, could have still been on the agreement.
Okay, any other questions, comments, input on Article 5? I guess the town clerk and treasurer are probably in favor of this?
It's in their budgets, I wonder who put it.
I would just like to ask one question. I see Brad up back there. What was the recommendation of the Finance Committee?
It's factored into the budget at present.
Okay,
That answers your question?
that answers my question.
Very good. Article 6, authorize Chapter 90 highway construction funds. You know, these are dwindling. These are dwindling, right? Mr. Younger, you want to just touch on this?
This is just the routine article that we place in the warrant, authorizing us to utilize Chapter 90 highway construction funds for the town.
Next one, Article 7. Excuse me, any input or questions, comments? Article 7, fund the Historical Commission grant. Tommy, want to just give us an overview on that?
Certainly. This was an article that was placed on last year's warrant, but did not go through. Was not acted upon for some administrative issues. This year, it's going back in there again. It's for a sum of $15,000 to basically survey a survey and planning grant for the Historical Commission. There will be $9,000 reimbursed by the Commonwealth. It's one of these programs where you have to put the money up front to receive the reimbursement. So the net cost to the town would be $6,000 for this program. If I recall correctly, I think the board supported it last year in the program, and I think the funds are available in the budget this year via the Finance Committee.
Right. Mr. Jones, once again, this is factored into the
Free cash.
free cash, right?
It's a one-time
One-time deal,
obligation.
free cash, and then again, 9,000 of the 15,000 will be reimbursed to the town. Any other questions or input, comments? Capital expenditures, I know those of the board have gone through the list. I know the Finance Committee has made recommendations as to the funding sources of them at this particular juncture. I don't know at this point whether or not, depending upon the outcome of the deliberations of the school committee, Finance Committee, members of the board later on between now and town meeting, whether the funding sources on the capital items are going to change from free cash to bonding. I know there's going to be some suggestions made, I guess. But as of right now, I believe what you see in the recommended column, the Finance Committee and Administration, is what we discussed at our meetings as far as the funding sources. Mr. Smith.
I had one question on the funding of the middle school tennis courts, Brad. We had originally talked about using the money from the sale of the property in Hazel Street, $250,000 going to the sidewalk program. And I see in here you've got 50,000 of those funds allocated to go to the tennis courts at the middle school.
Correct.
And 200,000 to sidewalks?
Correct.
Okay. That just varies from what we had originally come up. We originally were going to put the 250 into the sidewalk program. I can see what you've done. Okay.
Mr. Younger?
As discussed, we are still in the process of the purchase and sale agreement. If those funds are not available at April town meeting, then those two sources of revenue cannot be utilized for
They
those
don't
two
exist.
programs.
Okay.
I guess.
Yeah, Mr. Vino.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess I'm glad Mr. Smith brought that up because I did notice that. And I was under the impression that we were putting all of that money into the sidewalk fund. That's where I would rather see it go myself, but so be it.
Mr. Rowe?
Same thing I agree too with, but I thought that if it wasn't in the sidewalk fund, it would be something that was new, it was not, we had agreed that it would not be used to replace or repair or something existing, it was going to be either in the sidewalks or for a totally new item. I thought that's what.
Well, I don't know if we said totally, it was something to enhance, something that would benefit the entire community, rather than a one-shot, deal shot in the arm for something else. I mean, sidewalks,
I
tennis
thought we
courts.
said all sidewalk.
Well, we were looking for the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Mr. Hagan?
Add that under old and new. You know, obviously, we thought we had jurisdiction over that, but we don't.
We still can, for recommendations, as
Right.
far as motions at town meeting and depending upon what's presented and whatever the amendments are going to be.
Well, I know, you know, quite frankly, we've had some awfully good tennis teams. Have they been using the tennis courts down at the Ipswich River, or have they been using those at the middle school? I don't know. Does anybody know that?
I don't know for sure. I don't know. It might be both. My guess is they're probably utilizing both.
Okay, I've actually never seen those. I'll have to look and look. Okay.
But the ones up at the middle school?
Yeah.
They're in definite need of repair.
No, I agree.
They're in definite need of repair, and again, the longer you wait, the more it costs. You know, we're talking about,
I had a conversation the other day that someone said 50,000 is not going to do it. If that 50,000 is not going to do it, then, you know, why are we putting the money into
I
it?
don't know who you...
Someone very close to it. I'll further investigate. Thank you.
Mr. Jones, would you like to comment?
My understanding is that the tennis courts, the way they are not allowed for interscholastic play. Number one. Number two, the feeling was if we don't put money into them in the very near future, then you might as well sculpt them. Just like a road, you're not repairing it anymore, you're gonna go down and reconstruct. And the third question was whether or no this would or wouldn't be part of middle school rehab. And the way the middle school rehab has been programmed or outlined is only within the footprint of the building and not out the tennis courts. So having said all that, the funding source seemed to be the only one that might respond to this. And if we were going to be dependent upon other revenue sources, free cash, et cetera, it just would not get that clear. So that was functionally a basic reasoning of the
Okay. Yes, Mr. Baker.
Are the tennis courts up there considered recreation? Could that be derived from the Hillview Fund?
It's not under the auspices of the enterprise until the property, those types of properties come under the auspices of the enterprise, no.
How do we put them under the...
Well, it can be done,
Okay,
you know, later on.
all right.
Pardon me?
The question was raised in previous years about the Hillview doing it, and the answer was no.
The answer is no, correct. The answer is no, currently no.
But if the land and the tennis courts were taken away from the school and put under the jurisdiction of recreation, it could be done that way.
Possible. I mean, that's a long way away, that's a little ways away.
Well, I'm just saying that
If the property were under the care, custody, control of the Hillview Commission and the enterprise, funds from the enterprise can be utilized to maintain the property that come under their care, custody, and control. Mr. Haas?
With those tennis courts being on school property, would that be considered a school capital expenditure, or would that be a general government?
It's on school property, but the general public has access to the use of those. In other words, those types of facilities are available to the public when the schools are not using them. You know, schools have first crack at them as far as scheduling. Other questions, comments on capital? That's what we pretty much have covered. Okay. Operating budget. The town administrator wants to point out as far as general government is concerned.
We went through that again, Previously, last week, the one concern of the board was removed. That was